joining us tonight is voiceover artist Jonathan Waters. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. I'm glad to be here.
Hey man, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure having you on. I'm your host, Kevin.
And I'm your co-host, Brian.
Awesome. So yeah, Jonathan, voiceover actor. Tell us a little bit about your history. How did you get into voiceover acting, and what are some of the bigger projects you've worked on?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to go a little bit back before I hopped into voiceover. It's always been a thing for me. I've wanted to be an actor of any sort from kindergarten. In the sense that the idea of being like all these people are choosing astronauts and lawyers and police officers and whatnot. I'm like, well, these people over here, I've seen this person, be a cop, an astronaut, and this and that, a smart person, a dumb person, a this and that. Why don't I can be anything. I don't have to choose any of this. And they pay this person way more than any of the other people. Again, there's a lot of success in that. And so that carried me on to just go through all the schooling I possibly could, through obviously grade school and whatnot, going to Boise State University and learning theater arts and dramatic writing from them. But I didn't pick up a microphone until probably a couple years into college, and I was like a $60 little condenser mic with like a little pop filter attached to it, and I had no idea about like, oh, a room treatment's a good idea. Like, the better stuff you get, the more this, and I'm learning things here and there. And it just started with just little teeny tiny little things that I could possibly find, whether it was on like Casting Call Club or Voice Acting Alliance way back in the day, some 15 plus years ago. But once
so what sparked the interest in being a voiceover artist ultimately?
Ultimately, it was the longevity of being an actor moved it forward. And I'm also going to credit the late great Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. I love me some Batman, man. It's great. And he was the defining Batman, but he was behind the microphone more so than he was ever on screen. But when you become an actor and you know that you can only have this face, and most of us are pretty poor and living on ramen and things like that, there's a longevity to whatever roles you can play at any given time, man. So I will not be able to be a convincing Romeo for until they do a geriatric one or
Right.
like something along. So that's already past me. I'm in my mid 30s right now, so I'm in like dad and maybe bad like guy in a bar. I'm in that mid range now. All those young roles are gone, but with voiceover I can sound however young or whatever. You can go full anime and be like, come on guys, let's go.
Yeah.
And you can prolong these sort of things, and eventually
well, it's kind of funny talking about, a little bit of ageism here, aging out of certain things. That happened to me with music in LA. I moved out there at 22 years old.
Right.
And by the time I hit 30, all the gigs dried up because I would get everything off of Craigslist. This is back when Craigslist was like kind of like on and popping.
Right.
Now I don't know about Craigslist these days, but at that time I got all my gigs off there, and then all of a sudden I started noticing, oh, must be under 30, must be 25 or younger.
You're like,
and I was like, man, like, what do I do? It wasn't about skill. It was no longer about skill. It was pretty much just like vanity, just about look. They want that young guy in the back there on the drum set. So I moved back to New York.
Right. Yeah. How nuts, man. I didn't realize that would hit in the music world as well. I assumed it would just all be like ears and things. I didn't realize.
No, it's ridiculous. Element. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I mean, and then even like the bigger stuff, the biggest opportunities I ever saw, they wanted like 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds. So You
And you're
got to
like,
get
"I know more
started
about music than they will ever do at
ever.
18." Like, come on.
Yeah, and I teach too. So, like I said, it's not about skill. You hit a certain plateau with your age, at least in Hollywood, and
Sure.
everything kind of changes.
So yeah, I mean, I can completely understand. So that for me, it was like, listen, I'm not the best looking person. I'm certainly not the most like well endowed, whatever. I haven't been inside a gym for about 10 years. I'm not that great. So it's going to be a really long time before like, someone calls me up to be an Avenger or anything like that. So this is my way of like hopping kind of into it. And a lot of it was hard knocks of like I'm figuring it out from one side to another. What have you like other podcasts of being like, here's a good thing, here's the things, you know, the demo is your calling card. It's this thing here, and don't pay for things too much and whatever else. And some of those are hard knocks that you just got to be like, oh well, that was a learning curve.
Right.
Shit. And then you
Yeah.
move on.
That's pretty interesting. You mentioned some of the realities of actually being a voiceover artist. Like, what are the common cliches, and what are the actual realities? Like, does the actual reality often differ from the common advice that you would get?
Right. Like, great question. The thing you hear a lot is we get this probably once a year or so. It shows up on TikTok. It shows up on ads and things like that. And usually it's an ad for ACX. And what ACX is, it's the Audiobook Creation Exchange. And that started in like 2011. That was where I got my first audiobook. But uh, creators or influencers or whatnot were always like, you can make $400 an hour just reading and using your voice. And it's like, not, I might have found my way on there. I already had some equipment and whatnot to be like, is this true? It does exist. It is like, it is incredibly like rare, but that's like saying like you will make a multi-million dollar budget blockbuster film, and all you need is that microphone on your desktop and that camera right there. That's it.
That's your ticket in. Yeah.
Is it possible? Sure. Is it what people are gonna be throwing their money at and actually doing between, other people like authors and rights holders and publishers and all those sorts of folks? Is that really feasible? No. So the thing that I've stolen, that I've learned is that voice acting is, big A, little v. Um, Technologically, yes, you gotta learn a couple little things, a couple little whatevers of being like, we want to be off the mic, but you can be on it and you can start making out with the silver dick that is this thing. Or you can be off it. You can be over here. You can learn these little things. But the big thing to learn is acting. You have to be able to act to
Yeah.
be able to voice act.
Right. Right.
There's different
And maybe some people miss that point
right.
when
And
they're
it's just-
trying to get into it. They're like, oh yeah, this would be a cool thing to do. But I mean, even I've thought about it when I was younger. Cause I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Mrs. Doubtfire.
yeah.
You know, the beginning scene, Mrs.
Yeah.
Doubtfire, when he's doing the voice of like the parrot or the bird or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
I remember, I remember seeing that movie in the theater. I was really young.
Mhm.
And it just like, it kind of dawned on me. I was like, wow, that's a job. That's actually like,
Absolutely.
that man is being paid to do voice acting. And it made me want to get into it. But then I remember my sister told me, she's like, yeah, Brian, the thing is though, you kind of have to be an actor. I was like, oh,
Oh, crap.
uh-oh.
I have to starve for this a little bit. Damn it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I ended up going in a different direction.
And that, hey, that's fine. But I mean, it takes all types. Everybody needs a different voice for a different thing, a different project. There's different techniques, there's different whatevers, but I get it every so often, be like, I have a terrible voice, man. I can't do what you do. And I'm like, do you want to? And they're like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'd love to. It seems like you're doing fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm working my ass off. Like,
Yeah.
it's constant work that I'm doing like 3 things at once most of the time. And I don't know if this is across all the boards and things like that, but I'm both opening, closing, and trying to find the next gig across the board of like, there's constantly either auditions or the next book that's trying to find its way into my schedule, or I'm trying to like stay on my schedule to knock out things, and God forbid my life gets in the way, or someone sends me an email that I need to answer immediately, and then knocking it out for all these folks. So I think for part of it, to be a voice actor, or at least to do what I do in my little ball of it, is to be, you got to be self-disciplined out the ass. Like you got to go nuts with it, and like you got to know how much you can spend on things time wise, because I've worked on professional things. I've worked on the smallest things where you get either a partner or even people behind the glass, or whatever you want to call it, who are just taking forever to get anything moving or done. The best thing you can do if you're just starting out and stuff like that, practice, 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 practice. Get good with the stuff that you can do. And it doesn't have to be like, I need to do the parrot voice, or I need to have deep voices and live voices and 1,000 different accents. No, you don't. The best thing you can do is learn your equipment, learn from both physically, you as a person, and
Right.
as well as the stuff you pick up. Once you can kind of start figuring these out, you can start broadening your limits. You can start going out there. And then you can start actually, I feel, going out for the jobs that are like, okay, maybe I can get $400 an hour. I'm still hunting for those. Fuck, I'd love to get those. But you know, if you're
Yeah.
just gonna hop into it, you will at least start building your reputation of like, because I have had it when I started off. I had a couple people like, well, you're free. Okay, hey, here you go. Like, and that word of mouth is amazing.
Huge.
If nothing else, for you to use it as your reference, to being like, I did stuff for this guy and I wasn't a complete asshole. So, and I got it done, you
I
know,
got it
great.
done. Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough, but I'm constantly working. The brain's always moving. And you talk about video games. I love playing myself some video games, but there's always a part of me that's just like, how the hell do I do what they do on there? That's freaking
Right.
awesome. So there's always this
Right.
kind of work brain going while I'm also relaxing during
Like, how can
whatever.
I maneuver my way into this area over
A
here?
little, yeah. And I know
Yeah.
that there's tons of coaches out there and whatnot. For me, I'm just in the weeds of my own self. But I have gotten obviously a degree. I've been working at this for a long time. So I have chops. I just need to move things a little to the left now and see where they go. I just haven't been able to do it between just life getting in the way for the moment. It's going to happen. I will move forward, but sometimes you find yourself doing gig after gig after gig, like, and next thing you know, you're like, I never thought I'd say this, but I need just a little bit of a break from the thing that I always want to do. I make money with my mouth, which is as dirty as it sounds,
Yeah.
and and most of the stuff I do is all across the board. I've done every genre on Audible, from a children's book to the smuttiest thing you've ever read or heard that you might want to be like, on page 45, could be fun. And I've done classics. I've done the worst of the worst sort of things that come with either hopeful authors and sometimes the worst, like, people on the planet who just
Oh, wow.
will rip you in half if they get the chance. But there's tons of great
Interesting.
folks out there, but you have to be able to learn to work with people. You got to learn how to be able to communicate. You got to learn how to work with other folks who are coming either, hey, I need this done right now. I'm like, okay, great, we're gonna try. And
Yeah.
other folks
Let's
who don't
see.
give you any information of, like, they don't communicate very well, but they're, like, lax about it. Like, "Yeah, this book will get done whenever it gets done and whatever. Oh, and by the way, I know you put the finishing touches on it, but that Southern guy you gave me, he's actually British. So, if you could just fix that." Like, God. And it happens to every audiobook person at some point. It's happened to me. It's happened to several of my colleagues and peers. Um, but communication is absolutely key. And even if you're like, "Hey man, this is gonna take me a little bit," I would rather someone be honest with me than ever be like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna knock this out in 2 weeks or whatever." And then I'm sitting there 3 months later being like, "Where are we on this?"
What's
Like, I
going
kinda forgot
on?
I did it.
Yeah.
Like,
So what I mean, if you had your choice, what would your next big project be? What would you be? You know, if you could do
Ooh,
anything in the voice acting
anything.
world, like what
Okay.
would that be? Would it be video games?
I love me some video games. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna go back to go forward. So this last year, I got to do a thing that was pretty rad. Um, and I had to do it twice, which is I don't know if I can tell this in the public, but um, I love Jaws. The movie Jaws is almost just about perfection to me. Again, I've watched that movie since I was a boy and whatnot, and I got to be a narrator for this book called The Book of Quint. And it's written by Ryan Dacko. It officially came out like last February, and it tells the story of Quint, the boat captain, and his story from Indianapolis all the way to about 5 years before the events of Jaws, and it's phenomenal. And when I auditioned for it, I was like, again, Jaws fan, seeing like Book of Quint, and I'm like, well, that could be anybody. And
Right.
the first like synopsis sentence was 1945, the Indianapolis. And I went, holy fuck, this is a Jaws book. And so the Benchley estate is signed off on them. Ryan has sent off stuff to Spielberg's agents and things like that. He's like, can we get this movie made? So I'm a teeny, 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 tiny part of Jaws history, which is amazing to me. But to your point, what would be like the dream project if like tomorrow morning something
Yeah.
emailed me?
Right. Exactly.
It would probably honestly be that of like, Mr. Waters, I'm Steven Spielberg. Have you heard of me? I'm like, yeah,
Have
maybe.
you ever heard of
Fantastic.
me? Yeah, maybe.
I need you for this next movie, and it'd be great for you to be the lead.
Right.
Beyond that, I mean, I'm always chasing that Batman train. That's like before I end this best of all worlds in whatever way, shape, or form, I'm already a part of the Jaws universe. My next couple of like bucket list thing is become an action figure somehow, whether it's I don't care how good it is, and two, somehow wind myself into the Batman universe in some way, whether it's the smallest of like deep cuts trivia questions of like this guy voiced Batman in this one audio drama, or building myself up to be the next Kevin Conroy, or even I don't care, I'll be one of like Riddler number 7. I'm just being like, I'm that me there, man, I'm in Batman, god damn it. So yeah, like that'd be what I'd want to do. And video game wise, that'd be I mean, Skyrim would definitely kill some time with me.
Skyrim.
If I could get on something that is, I mean, what's happening with video games these days? It feels they're more cinematic. You get stuff like The Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah.
All those things that like you're ingrained in it. You have choices in it, whether you do or not. Last of Us, spoilers.
Yeah, the Last of Us is that's an intense game.
So to do something that's cinematically and almost Oscar worthy, and it comes from players moving you basically in some sort of way, with the exception of the cutscenes, obviously. But it affects people. I mean, that's a part of the reason I wanted to be an actor on top of everything else. I love story. I love the idea that immortality can be somewhere in there, of like I can tell you a thing, and I'm affecting your soul. I'm affecting your humanity. I'm affecting your emotions. From a performance in one movie, I might change the trajectory of somebody's life, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie. And I really hope it's a good one, but sometimes the bad one gets people behind you more often. Sometimes being like, I watched this
Right.
and I didn't want to become your character. I'm like, good. Be better. That
So,
sort of a thing.
what do you think it'll take to take you to that next level? Because I know you mentioned Jaws, but to really get the roles that you want, what do you think you have to do that maybe you're not doing now? Or
Right. So I mentioned before that I have had a little bit of coaching, but I definitely need to get the know-how of that particular world. Audiobooks for this, it does feel very much like a entry level voiceover work because you can find it easily online. A lot of the things that are animation and video game and whatnot turn out to be either very indie, which can be great, can be awesome, but sometimes they're looked a little bit down on between like the fan dubs and this things like that. Like it's that people put a dumb amount of work into it, but to actually get into a place of like, I've done similar work, I've done these sort of things. What moves me to get in that room? So my next step is to do my research of either see what really good coaches are out there, and I've eyeballed Stephen Bloom, Tara Strong, a story. What's her thing? She's on TikTok. She does a ton of commercials and things like that, which is fine. But she might be able to point me in the right direction of
Right.
a story, a redhead, and whatnot. So there's steps I know where to take. I just haven't done them, which is so dumb. But like sometimes like at least I can see the path.
Well,
And whether
yeah,
they're
I mean,
like
life, you never, like, I always say this in hindsight, right?
right,
Everything in hindsight, like, if I had only known, don't meet this guy at this place,
right,
don't go to his house, don't, like
right,
all these little things. Like, if I had known, then I wouldn't have done it. But when you're in the moment of it,
right.
it's like tunnel vision. Like you're so close to the thing that you're
Mhm.
doing that you don't really have that third party perspective of, oh, maybe I shouldn't go to that place, maybe I
Right,
shouldn't go to that party,
right.
things like that.
Absolutely. And I mean, some of these folks are professionals and they've worked since the 90s and if not beyond, and they're working today. But there is something to be said of like, "Hey kid, I got something for you. You just gotta come over here." That sort of thing. And you're like, "Oh, okay. You're gonna offer me the moon? Awesome. Let's go." And it's a waste of time. And I don't know if like, and that is it is a thing of apprehension, right? Of like, you say you're a professional, you say you can do these things, you can say you can, you know, help me do X, Y, and Z, but how far, how much, does that actually pay dividends down the road?
To what extent?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't ever teach because I don't feel like I think, but I don't feel like I can give anybody a guarantee on anything. And I and I honestly like feel like I don't know if how to teach acting or being in front of it. I mean, you could probably watch me by
Yeah.
doing and then be like, "What, he's clearly got bad technique." I'm like, probably right, but
Yeah, well, I'll
but
say
I'm giving
this,
shit done.
just from, in terms of teaching, I've been playing drums since I was 14, started teaching at 18,
Wow.
and I didn't start teaching, on my own accord.
Mm,
Basically, my drum teacher at the time, he said, "You know what? I've got this kid, he can't make it out to my studio anymore. Do you want to do a house call session with him and take over the student?" And I was like, I don't know. I'm only 18. I've only been playing for 4 years. But my
right,
teacher at the time, he said, you know what? No, I think you'll have no, you'll knock it out the park. You'll do great. Just give it a shot. So I actually
right.
did give it a shot, and it was super easy, and I was way ahead of the kid. So I think that's one thing to take. As long as you're just a little bit ahead of the person,
Right.
then you can teach them. If you're right there, like right with them, that might be a little harder.
Right, you're like,
So, like, I found that with music, there's some people that they're great performers, but they're
mhm,
terrible teachers.
right,
And then there's some people they're great teachers, but they're really not that impressive
right,
performing. I like to think I do both well, but I think I teach better than I play.
and that's a good thing. You're
If I
giving
had
back.
to judge it.
Right, and that's a good thing. You're giving back to it. You're helping the next folks who wanna do a thing. I just I don't know. I've pointed people in the right direction, and I've, like, given them the, like, email novel of, like, "Here's what I wish I knew. Go
Right.
forth and do good things." Like, it's
It's
but
kind of
it
like paying it forward in a way.
a little bit, but it I mean, for me, I'm like, "Well, learn acting and, talk to these people, and then I just like smoke bomb out of the room, and it feels ingenuine. Like I can't charge whatever some of these people are charging to be like, I'm gonna make you famous. I'm like, I doubt it. Like,
Yeah, I doubt it.
but if you can get me in the room with some of these people, and I know I've been at this for a while. It's all building blocks. It's building relationships with folks. And they call this an industry, and it is an industry. And people are going to take chances on you at times. And as long as you are just gung ho and ready to rock most of the time, they'll vouch for you left and right if you're willing to work for it. And I'm currently kind of I'm luckily in that where I have several publishers who are constantly putting out audiobooks who just want to keep on using me. I'm one
Oh,
of their
wow.
many, but very well paid at the moment. Voice people for their books. And it makes my life easy because I don't have to audition. I don't have to go hunt for anything. But
Yeah.
to speak for your question, Kev, of like, you get complacent a little bit. And I've been feeling it for the better part of a year or so of like, man, I love this job. I will,
I could hear it in your voice. I could hear that you
pun intended. But I don't want to, always be doing this. I would love for this to be like, things dry up and I can just go right back to doing, men's romances or whatever they, want me to do. But I really don't know how much that is leaving my mark on the world. And while, I might be helping to put more people in it inadvertently, uh, as I jokingly always talk about that I'm an audio marital aid. And I haven't heard of this quite yet. No one's come up being like, we've named our third child after you. I'm like, gross, but fun. Like, thanks. So yeah, like I do want to move into this world of bigger and more sightly things. And maybe it's the actor in me who is just being like, my name's not in enough lights, even though I'm on over 450 some
Wow.
books
Wow.
across Audible.
That's
and whatnot.
impressive.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah, it's really
man, is my
impressive.
tongue tired. Uh, but
Yeah.
it took time, and I didn't start off like I just picked up a microphone and all of a sudden everything came to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
it
right.
took going out there. It took falling on my face several times. I've fallen for several scams once in a while, being
Well,
like, I'm gonna be a voice for this, and
some people don't realize that failure is actually part of success, that
absolutely,
you only
failure is success
actually
training.
yeah, you only actually fail if you just pump the brakes. You totally stop and you
Right.
quit and you say, "That's it. I'm done doing this." But otherwise, you fail, you
Mhm.
fall flat on your face, and then what do? You get up, you take a step back and say, "Okay, how did that happen? Why did I
Right.
do that? How could I do that differently in the future?" And then as we make those changes, we end up at success, but
Right.
we don't really get to success without failure. And I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people that aren't entrepreneurs, they don't necessarily realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Like there I I don't know anybody, famous or otherwise, I don't know anyone who hasn't just been like, "Everything I touch turned to gold." Like, maybe in the book,
Right.
maybe in the movie version of their life, but man, like, there's no way that you didn't mess up on, I don't know, take WD-40 or whatever it is. It took 39 of those, or Thomas Edison of making X amount of light bulbs and things like that until he settled on that one. Um,
10,000. Yeah.
10,000, yeah, and it is the
10,000
10,000
attempts.
hours. Yeah, and then I don't know how many hours I've done so far. I think I'm technically, just by time alone, a professional, or an expert as they call it, but, like, you gotta fail, and failing fucking sucks, but you gotta do it, and you're right, like, the second you stop, you can step back, like, if the
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I just got my bell rung," but the fight's still gonna keep going. Um, but as opposed to, like, you can pump the brakes, but if you full stop that car, you're never gonna know if
You're
you
always gonna
can't get to the next
regret.
level.
Yeah, you're always gonna regret, hey, what if I did
Absolutely.
go meet that person? What if I did go to that networking event, that party?
Mhm.
So that's like in my life with music and all that, I took a huge chance. I moved to LA at 22. with
Right.
a indie rock band, and
Nice.
it didn't work out. As a lot of times it doesn't work out. Like within 10 months, the band was done. I had tried to set up a lot of meetings and try to do a lot of stuff, but it just didn't pan out. So
Right.
then I became a session musician, which ultimately I didn't really like because I didn't really like the people I was working with, to be honest.
Damn it.
So after a while, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. And like clearly you still like
I mean, I still
music
teach.
and
Don't get me
teach and
wrong.
all
Yeah, I
this.
still teach.
So you're still in that world. You're still moving.
Yeah, I'm just not actively taking session gigs.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, sometimes this curve, sometimes this thing, sometimes it moves into something better. And that's okay. But
Well, here
you,
I
you
am
gotta do you.
talking to you. Here I am tonight, talking
Yeah,
to you. I mean,
right? Crazy.
This is a pretty, I don't want to toot my own horn, but this is a pretty cool thing that we have going here.
Yeah, guys. Congratulations. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
What would have happened if you stopped at 1? Like, here you go.
Yeah. How many? What are we up to, Kev? Over like 400?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Hot damn, dude.
Yeah,
We
Like,
do
doing it for a while.
two or three a week. I've been on for maybe 2.5 years.
Wow.
Kev did it for another year on his own. But yeah, since I joined on, we've been doing 2 or 3 episodes a week.
Right
and
on.
Just all across the spectrum, all different types of
Wow.
industries, different levels, from CEO to intern. We kind of, we're sort of like a general career advice kind of show, but also about life. So
Right on.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, why not? why not?
I mean,
There's
I could have
so many
never
good stuff.
imagined doing this when I was younger because I'm very shy. Very, I'm quite introverted. But for
I
some
think you're
reason,
doing pretty good, man.
Thank you. For some reason, I can get on camera, I can get on the phone, and I could start talking.
But for some reason, it's just like, oh, hi.
But like in person, yeah. So I think that was one of the things that held me back in music a little bit, was that my in-person networking was suffering because I was so introverted that
Makes sense.
I couldn't just go to the party, shake hands, say, oh yeah, I'm doing this, or I'm about to work with this guy. I couldn't really do that because of crippling fear, anxiety, things like that. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities I probably missed because of the way I am, which is okay.
Yeah.
But just looking back, it's like, oh man, like I wish this happened with this guy or whatever.
Right. And that's tough because fortune does favor the bold, but it's tough. It's tough to be bold
100%.
and be like, hi, how the hell
100%.
are you? Like, I have to communicate to other people. I have to show that I'm worth a damn, even though I don't think I am at all. How the hell do I do that in the 2 seconds to meet somebody I've never met before?
Clearly, with as many books as you've done, clearly you know what you're doing.
I hope so. The reviews say I'm doing pretty good, so I'll take it from the audience more so than I guess my peers. But I keep getting hired, so I must be doing something right. You're absolutely correct.
100%.
So you're to pivot a little bit. I know you kind of mentioned you're going to be more intentional about curating your roles. I know initially, you kind of hear that saying, take anything you can get, say yes to everything. But I know once you get to a certain point, you have to be more careful about what you pick and choose so you don't get like typecasted, or you can put the profile together to get the roles that you want to get. So like, what do you think you're going to be saying yes to, and what are you going to be saying no to?
Well, luckily, for me, and again, this might be a tooting my own horn bit, but I tend to be pretty versatile with this throat of mine. And it I know, as dirty as it sounds, but it works out pretty well in audiobooks, especially when I'm just on my onesies, which is, I don't know, probably 75% of the time. That you have to do the female voices, the ogres, the this,
wow.
that, the other, the young kids, the old kids, the little shitty teenagers and whatever. So there's a showcase there for certain. As far as roles to take, I mean, yes, I'm still always going to be in that position of like, oh my God, yes, like you can't fill my schedule enough. I want it more. I love
Right.
drowning in work. I
Right.
absolutely love it. Do my employers do? Not necessarily, but they know
Would
they're
you
going to get a
say
good
it's
product.
required? Would you say it's required in the type of field that you are in, that you need to be kind of
I
that go-getter, constantly
I think
on the
so.
ball?
And
Because
I
I mean, from the outside looking in, it looks like, yeah, it's like this gig, and then you get this gig, kind of like regular acting, you know?
right. So there is a little bit of a caveat to all of that. Yes, take a thing. Go take that first step, whatever you can possibly do. Especially if something is being offered and they're reputable and whatever. If you're not quite sure, if it feels uncomfortable, if like you say, being like, maybe I shouldn't have gone to that guy's house, being like, maybe the casting director isn't there, or whatever. In the sense of, I wish I'd learned or been way more humble in my youth. Because I got out of college, I did this something similar that you did, Bri, of like went to LA for a little bit and just
Oh, you
plowed through
did?
money
Wow.
for just a teeny tiny bit of time, and I got there, and it was just like no one knew what the hell to do, and
It's
anything
re
anybody knew what to do was like,
That's
"Oh, just go to central casting," and I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, just
yeah, I
I hear
mean,
these stories from the '70s and whatnot. There used to be this, like, paper called the trades, and you would just pick these up and be the audition is in this place, you just go there and biggity
well,
bam, and, like,
it's
you get
kinda
your
like
thing done.
you think back to the days of, say, Tom Petty. Tom
Right,
Petty was I think they're from Florida, Orlando or something. So the band drives out to LA. He just walks straight into, like, Atlantic Records or BMG, whatever it was, and it's
right.
like, "You guys need to sign me. We're amazing, blah, blah, blah." And then he got 2 offers. He got 2, deals.
I mean, there's something to be
So,
said
but
for having that huge of balls, like,
that's
well,
what I'm
Sylvester
saying.
Stallone did the same thing of like, "I
Mhm.
wrote this, I'm gonna direct it, and I'm gonna be in it." And, of course, no studio is gonna be like, "Yeah, sure, of course," and somebody did, and you get Rocky out of that.
That's right.
It's nuts, like, it shouldn't work, but it does, and that's their
But yeah,
way
like
in.
everyone tells you, like, if you're a musician, they're like, "Oh yeah, just go out to LA and then you'll do X, Y, and Z." And it's like, yeah, but when you actually get there,
They're
you're like, okay, so where's point A? Like, where do I start? Where do I
right,
begin? Who do I meet with? Who do I talk to?
absolutely,
What skill set do I need that I don't have already? Does my band need new pictures to be updated and
right.
better looking? And like what do we need? And I remember setting up a manager meeting with this guy who owned a studio in West Hollywood,
Hmm.
and it went really well. But my singer at the time, he had throat issues. He
Oh,
had throat
no.
problems, and we basically let 6 months go by without contacting this guy. And
Yeesh.
LA stuff moves fast. People
Right,
think it's real chill because it's California, but that was not my experience. Things move
right.
very
You gotta
rapidly.
yeah,
You got to jump on stuff. So that opportunity with that manager, it passed me by. And I will always have that regret of, oh man, like I wish my
I
band was more together and with it, and like had the same, like, mentality that I had of wanting to push things forward.
mhm.
But that's all in hindsight. So now it's like, whatever, it didn't work out, but now I'm doing something pretty cool with the
Right.
podcasting. So everything works out in the end, I think.
Sure. And I mean, I wish I didn't have nearly as much pride as I did back then to be just like, "I'll take whatever, I don't care." Things
Right.
might have been different. That's my hindsight of like, "I don't care, I'll go for it." Um, been willing to go to being like, "Are they having classes? Great, let's take a class." As and a means for the only reason, 1, get better at whatever I'm doing, learn that stuff, but honestly, meet
Right.
the other people who are doing the same thing. Now, yeah, LA, and as I'm sure you know, and maybe anywhere in the entertainment industry, there's people who are willing to help you out and, help back, uh, but it felt like for me hopping over there, like everybody was hunting like sharks, dude. Like
Sharks.
the second
Yeah.
anybody found somewhere, something, like a crumb, a drop of blood in the water, man, that person who bought you a beer like yesterday would step on your throat to get that job.
Oh yeah.
And so everyone's like real
Oh
secretive
yeah.
about everything that like comes out being like, oh, this agent is hiring, or this agent's looking for something, or this is casting, or this is here. Here's a website to help you out with blah 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 blah, whatever the fuck.
So
And
like in
so, like,
general,
fuck, dude, how
what
do you
did you
do that?
think? What did you think in general about LA in terms of like, is it the right, like if we're telling listeners to the show right now, like, oh, you know, you should move out to LA if you want to do voice acting, what would you say to the people that are considering that route?
So here's the thing. I do what I do, and I'm part of the union. I'm making my dues, I'm paying my insurance, I'm paying for the house I'm currently in, which is much cheaper than anything you're going to get in a big city. That being said, I don't know the quality of jobs that are constantly being offered. It sounds like, especially during the time of COVID, that it was like everybody just ran to their own home studios and they were still able to do stuff from there. And all these studios started closing down, or at least closing down spaces that
Right.
they didn't need and
Right.
to keep the lights on, because all these big name folks just be like, oh, I just pad up my room and have this thing, and I can just send this off in an email or whatever and be good. And I think that still exists today. I don't know this for sure. I think for like video games and animation, they do want you to be in a room to be directed, or be in a similar situation like this podcast where you are in a Zoom meeting where you have all your sound double checked and all this and that, where you can send it to the sound engineer, but you are getting the direction. I don't know this personally. I've done a couple of live directed sessions, and they're about the easiest thing on the planet. I love them just because
Okay.
I get instant feedback of like, "Hey, did I do
That's
good?
great.
Like,
Yeah.
does
Was
this
this
feel right?"
good? Was this okay?
But like so to say that, I'm in Idaho. There's not much here. There's potatoes, there's desert,
I was gonna say there's potato.
and there's a mall that you can go and see. Thank God we have a couple of movie theaters not too far away. And I live 45 minutes away from Boise. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm doing pretty all right for a kid who was just doing this, making funny voices in my basement. You can do it too. It will take time. And it's time is a pain in the butt because it does take the time. But you do that thing where I've seen it a couple times, those motivational TikToks or whatever you want to say, being like, remember where you were a year ago. Remember where you were 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago for me, I didn't go full time until 2020, the
So
beginning of
COVID,
the year, right when that happened. And I
right
moved
before
into
COVID.
this house in 2019, October of 2019.
Wow.
And I was having to commute and whatnot. And 45-minute commute, I know for like big cities is not a big deal, but I'm doing 80 from there and back. So it's, you know, a 40-minute, I think 80 miles a day was what I was doing to get to my job. And it was like, man, at the time it was like $4 in gas or 3.90 something. It was stupid. And after a while, I'm like, all I'm doing is paying for gas. I'm not paying for the house. But I was doing audiobooks and stuff to be beer money and extra rent money since 2011. And so it was, I'd get some great gigs and then I'd get some meh ones, but it was very on top of my day job. I went full time immediately, being like, you know what? I've been doing this a minute. I feel pretty confident. I think I can make it happen. And yeah, I had like 2 months in, like that February 2020, I had like
Right.
all the panic of like, what the hell did I do? I
What did
I
I
told
just
everybody I
do?
was going to do this thing and I've already fucked it up. And like and and lo and behold, I haven't. I'm here doing this. I do about between anywhere between 58 and like 60 some books a year, and that fills
Wow.
my entire schedules. And I always aim for at least a book a week, not necessarily finished, but to be like 52 books a year. I don't care what they are. I do care what they are. To get back to your question, Kev, to get back to your question, I'm being like, yeah, obviously there's going to be some things that I'm like, no, I'm not going to be a part of these opinions or this uh, ideal or whatever it
Especially
is.
right, especially if it's more politically
Right.
driven.
I don't need my name on this. And I have done a couple of things that I'm like, I didn't realize that, halfway through this book, it's suddenly this just terrible like things about a certain group of folks. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't put my name to this. But I'm already halfway here and this guy's going to pay me. So let's do a, a
So
fake
what do
name
you
on
do?
it.
Like you get paid for it, but then you don't
I get
list it
paid for
as
it,
one
but
of
I
your
do have a
credits?
pseudonym on it and whatnot. And there's some things I'm like, ah, shit, my name's attached to this. But then they see all the other stuff I've done and being like, oh, this guy clearly is either, one way or another. And if you look through my catalog, it's a lot of buxom anime girls, that sort of thing. But yeah, like you, for a bit, you do have to be like, whatever, give me, go, to just do the thing. Because there's so many people who can do the thing. They have the talent, they have the drive, they have the everything. And much like me, I'm like, just get me in the room. Where's the room? Just show me the
Yeah,
room. Let me go to the
what
fucking room.
I've realized what I've
Right.
realized just in my time with music is that talent is overrated. There's a lot. I learned this from LA. There's a
Mhm.
lot of talented people, especially that move out there that all want to do the same thing.
Exactly.
But not everyone is a go-getter. Not
Right.
everyone is a hustler.
You gotta go
And
all day,
that's
every day. It
or
sucks,
even
but
like New York City too, hustle mode. You have to be on your grind if you want to be able to pay rent and do this, career that you say
right.
you want to do. So yeah, I don't
And
know.
it does take a bit of a leap of faith in some way. Again, I didn't make the leap until I
Definitely.
was way sure and like overly sure. I had people, I didn't have as much business as I had, but I still had that hunger of like, I got to get this done. I have mouths to feed and business, all this to pay for. And so, that lit a fire under me of being like, this needs to get solved. And you're your only means of conveyance. You will stumble, you will fuck up, you will do this and this and that, but you can't
Yeah.
like dawdle, dude. Like you got to
Like
go.
for me with okay, if we're talking music full time, it took me getting into a car accident and then
Jeez.
I was given a payout. It was rear end accident. I was at a red light. Some guy just wasn't paying attention,
Oh,
I
good.
guess.
Not your fault.
No, it wasn't my fault. But I had been in a car accident at 16. So it kind of
Oh,
re-injured my spine, my L5 disc.
yikes.
And, pretty much, so I got a payout from that. And I said, you know what? This is the perfect time to go full time with music. This is the perfect time because I was already in Hollywood. I was already playing with different people, but I wasn't only doing that. So
Right.
I kind of flipped that switch on, did that for about a year, and then I hit, I think, 30. And then, like I said, I kind of aged out of a lot of the opportunities that were out there,
Which sucks, man.
which sucks.
I will
Yeah.
say, like, I learned this from a workshop with it was a casting director, Tiffany Canfield. She came all the way out here. She's usually on the East Coast, and somehow some people knew her to bring her out to do a thing. And one of the big things she talked about was like, listen, you can have as much talent as you want and this and that. Once you get in that room and do the thing, you are only at best 20% of the decision that gets you actually cast in whatever. Because what ends up happening, whether it's a big movie or it's the smallest thing ever, you have people who are talking behind the table. And you might have a little bit of politicalness behind that in the sense of like, let's say the big movies and things. You might have the director, you might have writers, you might have executives, you might have people, all these people watching you. And some of them might be like, well, we're going to say we want person B, but we really want person C because director does actually wants A, but they, and it put that to every person in that room. Say there's 10 people. And
What a
and so
mess.
and so she's like, listen, like you can be great. And unless you blow everybody out of the water somehow, which never happens, because there's just so many opinions of being like, she doesn't really look like this, or his upper lip is a little big to be playing, blah, blah, whatever. It doesn't matter. But so you get all these people who have different opinions and they wind up on hopefully you. So as it was as a means to like calm down. Like you're not going to go in there and being like, you're the one. And like, that's it. Usually it's like, all right, thanks. We'll review the tape. Don't call us. We'll call you. And
Yeah, that's always
which is why you would get some people being
Yeah.
like, what do you mean I got something? Like, who are you? But yeah, you got to be a go-getter. You got to go up and get it. And LA.
Did you find that, yeah, with LA, did you find that it really helped you to go there? Because like I felt like the opportunities I did get while I was there, while I was actively playing, I would have never gotten. I grew up in Connecticut, Bridgeport.
Mm,
I feel like I was way too big of a fish in a small pond where I grew
right.
up. So I needed to get to a place where now I'm a little fish, but
Absolutely.
I'm swimming with some absolute sharks, you know?
Right. So I'd say yes. You got to, I mean, I don't regret going at all. I I'm what's the word for it? Like, I'm bummed it didn't, like, pan out like how I thought it was when I was, like, 24 or 25 when I went.
Yeah, same
To
here.
be like, "I'm gonna take this fucking city by storm, and they've never seen Johnny Waters before," and, like, I got there and I was like, "Oh god," because well, I
This is
mean,
hard. This is
this
actually
this
really
is hard.
it's really hard.
One, there's, like, 800 cities in the span of this one big city, and on top of that, the thing that drove me nuts, like, I started feeling just going insane, was, like, to leave the house at all was $20. Not necessarily like I wasn't handing it, but being like between gas, between parking, between X, Y, and Z, like, I had to logistically make more money than I was making. And I didn't really have like a, "Oh, you can start at this warehouse and we'll," or "You can whatever." And I tried to find weirdly enough, at the time, I was like, "I'll take any waiting job at all." Couldn't find one. None of them wanted me for some reason. Maybe they were like, "This Idaho idiot." I don't know.
Right.
But I was hunting for stuff, and I did odd jobs and things like that all around the damn place, and I met some really cool people, especially around Santa Monica. Man, there's some cool people
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Um, but it
There's
was one of
a
those
lot of
things of, like, if you
studios
don't
out there,
have the
like
support.
animation.
Yeah, if you don't have the support to, like, just live kind of there, even if barely, um, it becomes incredibly tough just to pursue this weird thing called entertainment. And yeah, they do pay you great at times when you land those big things. But it's tough and it's you got to rip and tear and fight not just everybody around you, but for yourself, as well as making friends with them so that maybe they point you in a right direction or you meet one of their friends and whatnot. But I think at the end of the day, if you just, I mean, genuinely just be good, learn your lines, be good at your job, know that you can work with a plethora of different sort of personalities and styles and things like that. And honestly, I don't want to step on anybody to make my candle brighter. I think we can all just life's a garden and I want to dig it with everybody.
It's enough room for everyone.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily in a rush. Maybe I should be, but um I don't need to break somebody down just so I can get something. I don't have that pageant mentality or the Tanya Harding-y whatever
Well,
it is.
yeah, I saw that in music. I got a buddy, he still works in music. I think he does stage management or front of house engineering, sound
Yeah, okay.
engineering. And I just remember, he was telling me, he's like, to move up in this industry, someone has to really blow it. And then you take their job. He said it's
And
just
you got
like that.
100,000 people doing that exact, like,
That's
they're
same
all
thing.
waiting.
So he was, in a certain situation where this one guy, I don't know if he came off his medication or what happened, but the guy went off the deep end,
Mhm.
and my buddy ended up getting that gig, and
Nice.
that propelled him forward, substantial, in a pretty big way.
Right.
And I mean, it's sad that, yeah, you kind of do have to step on people to make it in LA, but
Sucks, but
it kind of is what it is.
you don't have to actively do it, I suppose. But I mean, there is something to be said for, like, if you are prepared and you're ready to go, that's what luck is, right? Like when
Right.
timing and opportunity meet.
Align.
And so if you're doing all the work and you're figuring it out and somebody goes like, "Hey, I need somebody who can do this," and you're like, "I'll be there tomorrow." As opposed to like, "Well, I don't know."
Oh, maybe.
Like, there's tons
let
of
me get back
actors
to you.
and stuff who are like, "Do you know how to horseback ride?" And they're like, "Yeah." all right, we need you on set in 2 weeks. And then instantly they're like, do you know anybody who has a farm or a ranch or a horse? Like, I need to learn this shit now. I think there was something from like Anne Hathaway or something, like one of the lessons she learned from somebody was like, if they ask you, say yes. Always say yes.
Right.
You can learn anything well enough in 2 weeks, well enough to be like, I can act it, whatever, whether it's scuba diving, sword fighting, or underwater basket weaving, you can make it happen. And I'm not saying lie. I'm saying be open to being like, oh yeah, don't go nuts, but allow yourself the grace and then go to the races for it. Being like, I gotta learn this now so that I'm at least good enough not to be like, now get on that horse and look like you're running.
So are you glad that you went out, even that you were just there
Absolutely.
for a little bit? Are you glad you went to LA?
Absolutely. If I didn't go, I'd always be wondering. That's the thing. You have to do the thing.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
And do I kind of want to go back? Yeah, a bit. Just because, there is more opportunities. There is more this, there's more. There's always going to be more somewhere. But like on the same time, I'm doing pretty okay right here. I'm not necessarily satisfied as much as I was, say, 2 years ago. But that just lights a fire under me if I want to move on and move further and be better. Now, yeah, I'm probably older than some of the people who are going to be hopping into it and whatever who are there. But that, whatever. I don't care. I'm here to do this lifelong thing to make child John really happy and end this, hopefully have a really long list of stuff on my gravestone. I don't know if I can make that fit on the back of a t-shirt, but what a good idea. I should make that. Oh, all 400 some odd books of like the John Waters tour. I've listened to them all. My God. How crazy.
Hey, man, we're getting to the top of the hour. From having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was great.
Before we get out of here, where can our audience find you? And did you want to leave them with any closing thoughts?
So you can find me on Instagram, johnwatersvoiceover.com. You can find me on my website, www.johnwaters, voiceover.com, where I have all my stuff on there. If you want to see this person in a movie that says the F word a ton, you can check out Amazon Prime. Opportunity is a movie I was in that released this year, actually, January. Made right here in Little Boise, Idaho. Closing thought wise, like, why not? Why not get so many things done? And what else are you going to do with your time? Why not? See what happens.
Just see what happens. Yeah, that's how I feel. You're only young once. And, when I look back, I'm 39 now. Like when I look back to my 20s, my time in LA,
right.
I went hard and I tried, I wanted to be Mariah Carey's drummer.
Right.
Didn't happen. Or Stevie Wonder, I wanted those top tier gigs. Did I get them? No, but I still had fun. I'm still glad I went out there in my 20s. And like we're talking about, you're only young once.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome, man. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We'll have to get you back sometime.
I really hope so. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And we'd like to thank everybody for tuning